Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming to the pitch event today. My name is Jason Cavness HR. This event is put on by me, Cavness HR, hosted by Karina and Washington Maritime Blue Incubator, and sponsored by Byron Robinson and Robinson Companies. Thanks for coming. Some quick admin notes. Bathrooms that way to the left. Plenty of pizza, beer, all that kind of stuff. For the people pitching, as you know, the pitch is 3 minutes each. And each judge will ask you one question afterwards. When you're pitching to the crowd. The judge also live stream, right? So you're pitching, you got this black tape here. Do not go out of the tape, right? You go like over here, you won't be in the camera. So make sure you stay in this black tape right here. Other admin notes. So I have my good friend Chancey's here today. So Chancey, senior student from high school, captain of the track team, football team, prom king, senior class president. He was an entrepreneur. So please talk to him today if you can, do a personal favor. And then the next one, these two people probably killed me for saying this. My two nieces are here. One, Ariel, she just finished ADA, the Development Academy, just for the Amazon internship. She's looking for her first software developer job, so talk to her. The other niece, Sabrina, her and her sister, Serena, started some kind of design business. So I'll talk to them if you can, they'd be appreciated. So next slide. Yeah. So Cavness HR, of course, I can't run an event without talking about my own company, right? We're kind of dumb. So Cavness HR, we deliver HR company to 49 or fewer people. So each year, small business loses $27 million on the HR, and they waste 25% of the time in HR. Time better spent taking care of the people and the customers, all that kind of stuff. And so how can you help out? We're actually doing a crowdfunding campaign right now that starts August 1st. So links here, that'd be a great help. And now I'm gonna turn over to Karina so she can talk about what she does.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here. My name is Karina Martia Harrison. I'm the program manager for the incubator here in Tacoma through Washington Maritime Blue. And what we do is we help early stage founders within the clean tech, maritime space, find the resources that they need in order to be successful. So we are actually looking for the third wave cohort. I can't believe that this second cohort is almost done with the program. And the benefits of being in the incubator is that you get access to networking events like this. In addition to the networking events like this, you also get mentorship and you do get free office space for an entire year. And then we also don't take any equity or fees from a founder as well. So if there's any interest, please come find me after the event. My contact information is just karina@maritimeblue.org. I also have an ask for all of you is that please make your network other people's networks. So whether that's you just helping people find the right connections or making introductions, I believe that this ecosystem can only be successful if we all work together as a collaboration effort rather than a competitive effort. So again, thank you all for being here. A special shout out as well to Angie Parker, who has really dedicated her time to help out with this event, and of course to Jason and Byron for helping me co-host this. I could have not done this without all of you doing this, and again, I wish all the founders that are pitching as well today the best of luck, and I look forward to hearing your pitch this evening. Thank you.
Full disclosure, I didn't actually do much to actually put this together. I'm just financing the whole thing. So the way I actually want to set this up, I just want to explain who I am, what my company does, because I kind of have to because I'm sponsoring it. And I actually wanted to talk to the founders to ask them a few questions so they can get warmed up before they actually go up there to do the pitches. Because I don't know if y'all have done Founders Live, but it kind of just throw you into the wind, like nervous out of your mouth. So I want to kind of like do the opposite of that to give you a chance to just warm up before. So I'm Byron Robinson. I'm from Virginia. I did my freshman year at Penn State, and then I transferred from Penn State to the University of Texas.
You're not inside the square.
Move the table to you. Yeah.
A little bit more money, you could get a wider frame.
That's the deal. Y'all look good though. So I did my freshman year at Penn State, and I transferred to the University of Texas. I was on track scholarship, so I'm from Virginia. So I did all this, wanted to run track, I was a track guy. And I did well, in my opinion. So out of high school, I had a bunch of records, we're getting all that. I'm the real deal, you can Google it. Don't be asked about it, but you can Google it. So when I got to Texas, everything just took off. It was a perfect fit for me. I love my coach. I was in a good environment. It was a good business place. I'm in Austin. It's awesome. It's awesome. And then everything just took off. So I made the 2016 Olympic team, and then I ran one more year at Texas. So after 2017, I never graduated. I think I'm 6 credits shy. I'm gonna circle back to that later to explain why I didn't graduate. So I went on to run for Adidas, and while I was a professional athlete for Adidas, as if I wasn't impressed with myself already, I decided to go ahead and start an investment bank. And all that means is that we just broker money. It sounds fancy than what it is. I just read a lot, so I have a photographic memory, and that was some good tailwinds, no pun intended, to actually help me to start this thing. Why did I even choose to start an investment bank? Well, while I was running track from Penn State to Texas, I had maybe 15 startup ideas that failed. I was just a guy with a bunch of ideas. I would read Inc. magazine and just try some shit. None of it worked, and I didn't have I didn't have the consistency to stick it through anyway. I mean, I was a professional athlete, so if there is an excuse, it would be that. And not just a professional athlete, I ran the 400 hurdles, so I did the hardest event in the hardest sport, so cut me some slack. So I realized I wasn't an innovative guy. I mean, I am to a certain degree. I can think outside the box, but I'm not like you guys, not by any stretch. I'm not gonna come up with an idea to change the world. All I have is maybe a little bit of charisma, a good build, at least for the time being. And I knew I've always had a passion, oddly enough, and an interest on how to put together a deal. I always loved any banking movie you can name, I've already seen it. I love everything about it. I feel like I was born in Wall Street, just happened to be in the South. And it's what I was interested in. The numbers made sense to me. And all the moving parts of how to put it together made sense to me as well. And so from that point, I was just figuring out how to actually start the company. And I'm telling you this part because we have founders here, and you have to be resourceful and industrious to actually put together a company anyway. If you read anything about investment banking, you're gonna get intimidated because you're gonna see a lot of regulations, and you're gonna use a lot of terminology you're just not used to. And that's still the case, even for me. I literally run one with 37 people now, and even I don't know all this shit. I see something sometimes, I'm like, I need to get a guy that actually knows what this means. We go about it that way. So it's very intimidating, but I had to break it down into a way that made sense to me. And what that is literally, it's just taking money from over here, moving it over there, getting a fee for it. I mean, we're just keeping it simple, that's what it is. I can put on a suit and sauce it up for you, but that's really what it is. So that's what I did. So I was in Texas, I hit the ground running. I would leave track practice in that hot Texas sun and literally Google any bank or credit union or private money source in the state of Texas. Call them up, ask them what they do. I would stumble through the conversation at first, and it was a shit show, to be quite honest with you. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know what questions to ask, and I got hung up on a lot. But I kept learning, and I kept trying again. I called the new number, or I called the old numbers again, pretend to be somebody else, and kind of just get it going that way. So congruent with that, I would go to any meetup, or I would look on Meetup to find any kind of event such as this, to meet people, to get clients. Because in my mind, it's okay, well, this is easy. You just call the banks, get the clients. And from there, I started a multi-million-dollar company, because it really is that simple. My first deal was actually with someone in my training group while I was still in Texas. It was a it was a 4-unit for $945,000. Got my first check for let's say $9,500. Not a lot of money, but you're in the game then. I don't know about y'all, but if I smack down $10,000 right now, I think you're taking it. So I was like, this is easier to try. So let me try to get another one. And I built up slowly a book of business that way. I'm really fast running past a lot because I can tell you about all like the embarrassing parts, but you don't want to hear that part. Built it up to the point till today, so it's almost 5 years ago today. Grew a lot, so we have 37 people now. We have a consultant arm as well, and starting mid Q4 of this year, a full-fledged asset management arm. So that's what we do. We started as a real estate loan brokerage, and now we are everything from a startup up to a lower middle market investment bank. We find the debt and the equity for you guys. Super simple. If you need money, you come and give us a call. To that end, before I get into the next part, does anybody have a question about that? Now, one question. What's up?
What's your track record been like with startups like over the last year or 2 years?
Most starters we've been turning down because we don't want to waste your time, and if we don't think we can reasonably get that money for you, we just let you know up front. We tend to do more consulting for startups than actually taking them on to try to find the money. You know what the market is. We know what the market is, and it'd be better if we just told you up front than to try to sell you a dream and then get bad word of mouth that way. Anybody else? What's up?
What are you looking for?
In regards to what?
For business?
It depends what's out there.
Uh,
I mean, ideally, as long as the company has some kind of revenue, we can get some kind of money for them. It wouldn't matter the industry as well. Just has to be a company, literally, with an LLC or some kind of corporation, with some kind of revenue. A balance sheet would help, but that's good enough for us to get started. It's the pre-revenue companies that you're just gonna have an issue with. To be quite frank with you, unless it's something that's truly unique, that really stands out, and I mean truly, not just in your head, I mean truly, then you're playing the slots kind of in a sense. You can win, but get me wrong, there are a lot of winners, but we're not in the gambling game. Maybe in the future though, but we'll pick that back up. What's up?
What does success look like to you,
Success? Personally?
or personally and also in the companies you invest in?
Making money. I mean, all right, so let me start with me personally. I want to be the absolute best in everything that I do. So success for me, let's start with the company, sorry. Success for my company will be the next Goldman Sachs. Mixed with like a JP Morgan-ish, something like that. That's what success will look like for the company. For me, can I be honest? I want to be in the upper echelons of the greatest American CEOs. So I want to be held in the same conversation as Larry Fink, Jamie Dimon, Steven Schwarzman, like those types. And to be quite candid with you as a black man, I want to go up there and say like, hey, I'm a black guy doing it with these guys, but I don't know if you can tell, but I'm black and handsome. So I want to be able to do that and be in that kind of conversation. I don't know where you're from, but I find a lot of times in the black community, we have our heroes and like people that, a lot of black people know in the community, but you always come across, whether as a kid or just on Twitter doing random stuff or whatever, you run across like a random fact, a random line about this one black person that did something phenomenal that you just didn't know about. I want that to be me and my family, except it be specific to banking. So like, I want someone to come across my name 1,000 years from now and to say, wow, that black man started an investment bank at 25 and went on to become a billionaire. Like, and he didn't know what he was doing. So you kind of just had an idea to hire the right people. If he can do that, then what can I not do? So that's what success will look like for me. You caught me off guard with that too. So it was a really good question.
So where does that take you then? What's next? What's your why? What will you do with that? Or is
Yeah,
your
just say
why, is your purpose to be a shining star for others?
Can you rephrase it?
What's your why?
I'm slow.
why with that?
I want to have a multi-generational investment banking conglomerate ran by my family. So my why is so that my kids can run the company into the future and finance the world. By the way, I normally wear black shirts, so like you gotta beat me to it today. I literally like always only wear black shirts.
Awesome.
But no, so that is my why. It just happens. So my why just happens to be in a way that actually works for other people. Because when you give people money, they tend to be happy. And yeah, you just start.
Right here. How do you keep the, am I going or?
You
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, the floor is yours.
How do you keep the marathon going? How do you keep morale high?
Amongst my people,
You and your people.
listen. I just got it. I don't want to lie to you. I just got the stuff. I mean, I'm a motivated guy. I don't know. I get up and get after it. Now there are days like, okay, all right. Can I be candid with y'all? Yeah, are you gonna judge me? Probably. Okay. So like, there are days that aren't as good as others. There are highs and lows. Like literally, I'm going through a pseudo breakup right now. Like literally, happened last night. So like, I woke up this morning and I'm like, you know, I'm doing all that stuff. You know what that's about, right? And so there are days like that. But to be honest with you, so like in my company in particular, my president of the capital markets, his name is Marty, seeing the progress, like seeing how he bought in day one and the progress that he has made since then to now, and how he's been able to actually take care of his family off of the execution of this idea, it makes it all worth it. So while there are days where I'm not feeling like myself, which is still exceptional in my opinion, but even on those days, to know that I'm not doing it really for myself, it makes it worth it. That's how I kind of can slug through those kind of days. Because, I mean, that's what you have a team for. Because when a leader is taking a step back, which you shouldn't do much, but whenever they do, you got to have a team to pull you up there. And so I'm lucky in that respect. You have a flip phone too.
I do, yeah. I also got a sat phone in my bag.
I was going to get a flip phone, probably that same exact one, because I want to have a burner phone.
No, it's amazing. $20.
They get the
With a
job
phone.
done. Yeah, I want to have a burner phone just so I can say I have a burner phone.
Phone is I need unlimited minutes, which is a problem. So,
Yeah, I like it.
thanks.
What's up?
So what's your deal appetite level? Is it 5 million, 10 million?
So we advertise 1 to 100 mil. But to be quite honest with you, so actually, I'll tell you all the good stuff. So right now, the main investment bank, Robinson & Co. Banking, does 1 to 100 mil. We will go below that, but like we want to play 1 to 100 mil. As early as last week, I've started a second investment bank. It's a JV with a business partner. This is called Robinson & Paul, and it'll be everything 100 mil on up. It'll be completely from private money sources, so no institutional money, all off-market deals. And so that second one's 100 mil and up. The one that you know about today is 1 to 100 mil.
Can I have a follow-up real quick?
You can ask one.
Opportunity zones, have you done any pursuit on the investment in
Real estate?
opportunity zones?
For real estate,
Real estate, commercial property, venture.
we don't refis, but only to that extent.
Okay.
Haven't had access to it really. To be quite honest with you.
On project?
Yeah, I mean, we can do them. Don't get me wrong. Just a lot of them have not came in the door really.
Okay, thanks.
Those are easy too.
I'd like to talk to you about it.
We're gonna talk. Don't worry. I'm gonna find you. Real estate are the easiest deals to do. So like, you make less money on it because it's only at a point, but it's a real asset. So like, it's always easy to do. It's the most financeable asset in the world.
Byron, can you tell us the companies you're working with right now?
No. So all the companies. Sorry. If you look at our website, you'll see. You may, if you look hard enough, actually, because I like buried it in there. If you look at our website, you may see transaction size from deals before, but we sign NDAs with every single one of our clients. So like, in investment banking, it doesn't work that way. You're finding a venture capital in that space. It may be like just a general investment company. But to your, I can't remember who asked the question, but we don't invest it on our own book. So that's why you won't find deals that we actually do on our website. Today, by the way, we don't invest in our own book today. That's coming. Where are the meaty questions though? Nobody asks about like the dog days of starting a company.
That's because we're living them.
What do you mean on that? Can you expand?
Living them?
Yeah.
I don't know every presenter here tonight, but we're living the dog days of starting up a company. Right? We're making the product happen.
Yeah.
We're trying to reach out every day and get believers.
I'm happy that you said that though, because a part of the story, at least for me, of starting this company, I don't talk about because like I'm an Olympian and at the time I was driving a BMW and it's just not the coolest thing in the world to talk about. But there was a stretch where like I had stopped running track completely and I was doing this full time and the deals were just slow. So guess what I did to keep the money coming in? Take one guess. I would never get a job. I would get fired. I think we all do that. No, it was Uber. It was specifically DoorDash though. I was DoorDashing my ass off. And this is how I broke it down. And so, to the founders, I'm happy that I'm saying this too because you gotta be industrious and be resourceful. It was like this. Okay. How much money can I make an hour? Like best case scenario, doing DoorDash. I'm thinking $30, somewhere around there. I'm not gonna average that, but it's gonna be somewhere around there. Okay, cool. Let's shoot for 20 to 25. And let's keep it like within a 2-mile radius so that I don't burn a lot of gas. I am driving a BMW. How many of these can I do in a day and still get as much reading as I possibly can and still go to meetups? Average that out by the week, it was anywhere from $700 to basically $900. If you're gonna do this, trust me, you got a lot of work ahead of you. You gotta hustle your ass off, it's not easy. But if you have that kind of cash flow coming in, not a lot of money, don't get me wrong. Like one deal that I would close would easily clear all of that, like for months. But if you don't have a deal coming in, good luck. So that's what you got to do to kind of get the ball rolling sometimes and start your company.
Byron, to build off of that, since I work with entrepreneurs on a daily basis, what would you say your best piece of advice would be? And then you can be as vulnerable as you want because, as an example with me, right, like founders will come to me either saying like they didn't get the investment that they wanted or a partnership, that they thought was going to come through, right, didn't end up coming through, or they were looking to pursue another educational program in addition to ours, and they might have gotten denied for it. So what would you say, like coming from you directly, your best piece of advice for either anybody that's going through this process now or somebody that's looking to become an entrepreneur themselves?
You should, thanks for that too. You should find ways to generate cash flow day one and not just expect a VC or an angel to subsidize like your company. Because that time that you're really wasting looking for that money, you can be spent finding an actual profitable business model. Because it is a business, right? If you removed any kind of access to capital from a VC or an angel, how's your business going to make money anyway? So you should be focused on that. Not getting an investment is not an excuse to not start a company. It's going to be harder for you, don't get me wrong, but and to be quite honest with you, if you don't even get that investment and you still get to the point that your company is even moderately successful, you learn so many more skills in the company that actually got that investment early. It's like sugar. You can give sugar to kids early, but it will end up fat later. It's the same exact model. To piggyback on that too, to what I just said, I would not go into the space expecting people to do things for you either. If you get money, cool. I mean, that's great. You should brag about it. You should do your LinkedIn posts and everything. Let me talk to like Pablo over here and get you right. If you get money, get your money. But if not, it's not the end of the world for you. It's not going to be an excuse for you not to be successful. I mean, to be quite honest with you, it doesn't hold much weight for me because I started an investment bank off of DoorDash. So, what's your excuse?
How did you handle the adversity when you're scaling? When you say you started at early stage, how did you decide how fast to scale
Oh yeah, I mean, it's entrepreneurship. It's rife with uncertainty. I have a really good risk tolerance. Like, I'm perfectly fine, like, giving up the nice car, the nice crib, literally sleeping on the floor, and putting all my money into the company. Like, I'm perfectly fine doing that. I have no issue. I have no pride in that respect. Literally everything outside of that, I'm very prideful. But for that, I'll just throw it all out. But I live my life on the gas, so I just think big. I'm constantly uncomfortable. I mean, in a weird way, I'm only comfortable when I'm uncomfortable. I don't really know how to answer the question like fully because it's my only way of thinking. I only think scale.
And as far as you saying you're on the gas all the time, is there any time when you take that to just reflect, or like how do you take a second to just like really like capture what's surrounding you?
Yeah. I do it every day. I incorporate it into like my actual work day. Does anybody here know the power list? Okay, cool. Go and say some new shit. I want to be new for you. I didn't expect to talk this long too, so sorry about that. Every day, I literally only do 5 things, like to push the company forward. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. I literally only do 5 things. It could be 5 meetings. It could be 5 anything actually. One of which is actual like strategizing. So I block an hour off. I'm just thinking, reading, jotting down stuff, and like planning. So that's kind of where I think what you're speaking to with the reflecting. But yeah, every day, that's how I'm able to get shit done, to be quite honest with you. Because especially after you start hiring people. Because once you start hiring people, you can specialize certain tasks, certain people. It frees you up to do more. I mean, in my opinion, as the CEO, you should be the GM calling plays. Like, you're a coach. You're not like some big boss man doing weird stuff and being authoritative. Your job is to be the coach and the leader, and your job is to answer who, what, when, why, and how, and in what direction, and then get everybody on the same page to do that thing. And as you hire more people, you can do a better job of actually doing that because you get less tied up in the day-to-day. Because now, like 5 critical things for me 3 years ago is very different than it is today. Because 3 years ago would be meet with these 4 clients, spend 2 hours following up on emails. You know, that'd be my 5 things. Today it's much different. It's like have a meeting with my head over here, go talk to a lawyer about this, go meet with his family office to talk about this new line of business, strategize, and I don't know, go work out. It has to be specific to you. So don't do what I did. All right, because I get my shit done.
So, Bryce, I'm curious, when you do something new and push and challenge yourself, what are your sanity checks?
Sanity checks?
Yeah, your sanity checks.
What's a sanity check?
Like almost like a check and balance. Like, hey, you realize that if you cross this line, then you potentially are going somewhere red, going somewhere that you should maybe bounce back from or bounce away from.
Yeah, I don't have one. I'm always off sides. I'm always doing something wrong. I just accept it. I don't even think about it. I expect to do something wrong. I'm sorry. I don't have a sanity check. I just do stuff. I don't think. Like, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about, minus the hour thing. I don't spend a lot of time like over analyzing my decisions. I'll think about it. I'm like, okay, let's weigh the pros and cons. Fuck it, I'm gonna just do it. And if it doesn't work, we'll pivot. But that's it. That's a decision right there. I call it hating on myself. I don't hate on myself. I don't block my own shots. Like, I don't spend a lot of time like, what if? I'm just like, we're just gonna do it and we'll see what happens. I caution you to be that way, by the way. You'll be able to get more done. For the founders, the moment you stop judging yourself so hard, you'll be able to actually get things done. Because probably the biggest thing holding you back right now is your opinion of what someone else's opinion is going to be of you. Let's be honest. And if you can get over that, you'll focus more on actually like taking action and doing stuff, and you actually start getting stuff done. That requires getting off social media. Stop doing the LinkedIn posts. Stop doing all the stuff. Just start getting busy. To be quite honest with you. Any other questions?
What was your biggest hurdle? Mentally.
No pun intended. I did 400 hurdles. This is easy. My biggest hurdle was like zero in on like what I actually wanted to do. Because remember, before I was startup guy. Every week I had a different idea, and it wasn't until I was like, okay, I'm gonna focus in on this no matter what. Because when the deal slowed down, I had to eat a slice of humble pie and DoorDash while I still grew the company. In that period, I felt like a loser, by the way. So like, just imagine that. Like, you feel like a loser, let's be honest. Like, I'll get in late, I'm like, fuck. This shit sucks, you know? I'm looking at my DoorDash app, I'm like, it sucks, right? But you gotta push through those kind of moments. So my biggest hurdle was zeroing in on what I actually wanted to do and get past the part that, the sucky part. The part where you don't have a lot of people cheering for you. You know, there's no one saying good job, or it's just you, your plan, and God. And you just gotta figure it out. So I hope that answers your question. Well, you have a company?
Yes.
What company?
Black Muse Virtual.
Oh yes, I can't wait to see you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. How did you get started? Let's transition to you guys.
Well, I started 3 years ago. I set out to be a life coach originally, and I was going state to state. My father had just passed. Okay. And so I started going state to state to pick up clients. And sure enough, I started picking up clients in California, and then I made it to Washington. I only planned to stay here, because I was going state to state, only planned to stay here for a month or two. I ended up getting a contract with the state Department of Vocational Rehabilitation, and I started doing life coaching at the Echo Glen Children's Center. Then the metaverse came out, and a month after the metaverse came out, after like doing at least 100 hours of research, a month after that I created a course, a program, and 6 months later I got 2 courses state funded, and passing out, giving state funded VR headsets to students, and now I'm separating from Big Daddy government and bringing that course to the public sector. And so as of last month, we just got a contract with Metro Parks, so we're gonna be in 36 schools. Yay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So it's money.
I have a question for you. One, I'm sorry to hear about your father. What was it like making that first sale?
It was the most gut-wrenching feeling, because I battled with a lot of mental things first off.
Yeah.
And once I realized that I had this self-sabotaging thing, I felt it at that moment.
We all got that.
Yes. And it's just as much as I can talk myself into something, I can talk myself out of it.
Yeah.
So this time I said what needed to be said, a little bit less than what was needed, and then I shut up. And they were like, oh, wait, here you go. And with the contract, they actually liked it so much that they told us that they had set aside money for us and agreed before we sat down to that first meeting. Yeah. So it was nothing to worry about.
You didn't block your own shop.
At that time.
By the way, this as an aside, like for sales, a lot of times, like if you just say less, you guys will get the sale.
Yeah.
Because the more you talk, the more you're trying to sell. The more you're trying to sell, less likely you're gonna get the sale. So if you just like state the value proposition, say the price, shut the fuck up. just stand back. Like, people don't know. It's their decision.
Yes.
So it sounds like you learned that in real time. So good for you.
Hey, Byron, real fast, can you tell us what you're going to give the first prize winner?
I'm sorry.
Can you tell us who you're going to give the first prize winner?
Yeah. So let's wait the first prize winner for everybody that's actually going up there. Because by the way, so I did Founders Live 2 weeks ago, and it was nerve-wracking. I literally like speak to teams and people for a living, and it was nerve-wracking. Like there was no like you kind of just go up there. And I winged it. I didn't prep for it. I didn't even like look at a slide. I had my assistant do it, and like I kind of like just went over it right before I went up. So I have a lot of respect. One, I have a lot of respect for you guys for starting companies to begin with. Like it's I'm literally an Olympic 400 hurdler. I can't think of anything harder than starting a company. I don't even think it's close. So I have a lot of respect for you guys for doing that. And I don't wanna, I'm not like participation trophy guy, but I do want to be able to help like everybody for even going up there to do it. Cause you're doing something that's literally like the backbone of this country. Literally without founders starting companies, initiating ideas and pushing things forward, I mean, there would be no business owners that's going to employ people to contribute to the GDP for the government to tax, and you know, none of that happens without you guys. So I would like to offer either a free consultant or just a free friendship to literally everybody that even pitches today. I think I advertised for 30 minutes, but I'm making more an hour. And just take the opportunity to learn about the companies and see if there's any way that I can help. So by help, I don't mean like a back channel way of my company making money. If that's even like connecting you to someone who can do a better job of doing whatever it is you need, whether it's sales, marketing, finance, or whatever, I want to be able to help you personally with that. And you guys will not get funneled off to anybody in the company. You will deal with me directly. So that's what I want to offer to everybody who even goes up there to pitch. So, are there any other companies that are going to pitch that would like to just say anything about their company and kind of warm up or anything like that? No pressure. No pressure.
Say if you think you're gonna hear a little bit more from me, but Mike, fantastic.
It's always weird hearing your voice.
Nicole, which you won't see on this because I feel like this is what you get on the side, is Nicole started as I was running an accelerator at AWS for EdTech, and I felt like multiple choice tests were unfair. And all the research I would see at all these conferences, and I said, okay, let's try to figure out a way to solve that problem. And it ultimately led me down this side channel into finding people who work real jobs with their hands and making their lives a little bit better. And then magically found somebody who's been working on that as well with Michael, my co-founder here. And it's felt like it all came together just in the last couple of months. And it's been fun to be out in the world and talking truly about the company in this new state.
What's been the scariest part about this?
Probably all the times that I wanted to quit and go get a job.
Why did you want to quit?
Well, you feel like nobody gets what you're trying to do, and we're creating new data for the world. So, comparing that data to things that exist is really easy. So,
Jason's about to pull it, but admittedly though, I have a lot of respect for that. So much so that I got out of that game.
Yeah.
I don't try to do anything new. Drugs, sex, and money is the easiest thing to sell. So I was like, listen, I'm not a smart guy. Let me just sell something that people already need. So I have a lot of respect for it. Are there any other founders that kind of want to warm up before they go up?
So actually, we can move on to the pitches now.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, Byron. All right, so let's start the pitches. First, I want to thank Kevin. He set up all the live stream for us. If you need any live stream for your own company, reach out to Kevin. Give Kevin a round of applause, please. All right, so the people pitching, just remember, don't pitch to the judges like this. Don't go out this black square. If you go out this black tape, you won't be on the camera. This is also being live streamed on LinkedIn, YouTube, all the places. And after the pitch is over, I'll send you all the videos so you use it right. For the judges, there's no criteria, right? It's totally on the judges to decide who's going to win, right? They can do any criteria they want. It might be best voice, best pitch, best company, best business model. That's totally up to them, right? Can we go to the following slide, please? So there are some prizes. Close.com is giving the winner $1,500 in a free sales subscription. There's a sales RM. They focus on companies of 400 fewer people. DevMax, their startup out of Startup Hall, ran by my friend Ellen Gonzalez. Basically what they do, if you hire developers, you tell them your tech stack. Well, I'll give my example, right? I just use them. So I hired a software developer. I gave my tech stack. 125 people applied. Only 90 took the assessment, right, based on tech stack. Of those 90, only 14 scored 50 or above. So instead of me talking to 121 people, I only had to talk to 14 people, right? So they're going to give a DevMax for 3-4 months. Then my friend Andrew Klein runs Z Accounting. He does bookkeeping, accounting for business, startups and business. He's out of Bellevue. So those are the prizes, plus what honors given. You also have community prize. Can you talk about community prize real fast?
Yeah, sure. So, with the community prize, I feel like my voice is loud enough, so I won't use the microphone. But with the community prize specifically for Tacoma, the startup ecosystem down here in Tacoma is really growing and building. And fun fact about me, I'm actually a Tacoma girl by heart. So I grew up here in Tacoma, and the fact that I get to bring new innovation, people, and technology to where I grew up means the world to me. As you all know, there's a famous candy out there called Almond Roca. Almond Roca is actually from Tacoma, so I went to Almond Roca and cultivated a gift basket for the community prize winner. In addition to the gift basket from Almond Roca, I also threw a bottle of wine in there from Washington State, and the person that wins the community prize also does get a free month at the Makerspace, sponsored by Startup 253. And Nito from Innovate Social is also going to give the founder an opportunity to win. Nito, can you raise your hand? Thank you again. This prize is also sponsored by Innovate Social, so this person will not only get a pitch practice with Nito and her team, but in addition to the pitch practice, you also get an opportunity to be featured on her podcast called The Good Pitch. And then Jason is also throwing in a HR consulting session or an HR session. Or overall, like as an example, a few years back, we had a founder go through one of our programs. They had a death in the family and they didn't know how to handle a scenario like that. So whoever does win the community prize, it's literally people from the Tacoma and the startup community throwing prizes to help out that winner. As you all know too, I really do like to emphasize using local Tacoma businesses for all of the food and vending. So with my recommendation, I actually did let Jason know to use Zeke's Pizza, which is locally owned here in Tacoma as well.
All right, before we start pitches, this is a network event. Do me a favor, meet at least one or two people you haven't talked to before, right? I mean, there's no use of a network event. Your own little circle, little clique, you know, like me and Aubrey talk, we know each other, right? Talk to someone you don't know and make a connection. So we're gonna start the pitching now. Pitch for 3 minutes. After the pitch, each of us asks one question. So the first person up is Alec.
Thank you. How are we going to do the slides thing, by the way? Should I just do something like this, or hand motion?
Yeah, hand motion should work.
Okay, cool. Hey everyone, my name is Alec Maslov. I'm the founder of Figio. We're building an entertainment ecosystem with a game at its core and a digital comic book spin-off and an NFT collection that represents co-ownership of the characters. Our flagship product is
Introducing Ultimate Fantasy Battle, a tabletop dungeon crawler with a mobile app that makes it easy for anyone to play. Find treasure to power up your character, then move into attack position and unleash your weapons through the app. Collect dozens of colorful game maps with exciting themes and original characters called God Levels, each with their own unique ultimate move that can turn the tide of the battle. Fully digital and augmented reality versions are coming soon. Pre-order the collector's edition.
So we have a board game and mobile app at the core of what we're building. That's going to be the first flagship product we launch. We're building a Unity app, which is going to turn into a fully digital game and an augmented reality game. So we have big plans for this in the future. Part of our business model is when we get a consumer to buy our board, we were going to produce new boards to keep customers loyal, to keep customers coming back, to keep the gameplay experience fresh. We're going to be producing boards over time. And characters as well. Our main characters are called God Levels. These are playable characters in the board and main characters in our comic book. These are NFTs that can be owned by investors and brands. Each NFT has its own custom game piece and a unique ultimate move, which keeps gameplay fresh and unique. Our Our digital comic book is called Stellar Dream. We have a live prototype up on our website. Basically, you can click through the comic book on a character and it's linked to a character page. So there's additional technology layers on the comic book. Our business model is simple. We are going to be selling boxes of games and then accessories, including game maps and game characters. We've already sold some NFTs and we plan to sell more this year and next year. Then when we launch a fully digital game, we'll be selling skins and other digital assets. We've already got thousands of playtests, hundreds of app downloads. We've got some revenue in the door from a Kickstarter campaign and NFTs. We have some really good, high-quality NFT holders and big progress on making the physical game and the digital game. We're going to be wrapping up a crowdfunding here pretty soon and shipping the first boxes this year. Next year, we're focused on selling more boxes, selling NFTs, getting revenue in the door, and making a real business. And then, we hope we're going to be able to do an anime and a video game soon, too. We're a team of builders, nerds, artists with experience in gaming, tech, and blockchain. That's why we think we're the right people to do this. And our God level holders include partners at VC firms, stars of Netflix documentaries, entrepreneurs, etc. We have a Kickstarter campaign that's live right now, and if you want to get in on the future of gaming, please check out the QR code and pledge your support to our project. Thank you so much.
Questions for the judges?
I wanted to know, Alec, what age range of youth are you trying to target with this?
So there's a few different target audiences that we have in mind. The first is 10 to 16, which is kind of like, middle school, high school age. The second is gaming nerds, which demographics vary wildly for that. Those are the two kind of core groups that we're going after.
I'm interested in how the NFTs and character ownership works. How do you guys have a model for that? Or?
Yeah, we're still building it out. We want to share revenue with the holders, which means it's kind of in the security territory. All of our holders right now are accredited, and we're not going to be selling to non-accredited holders. What we really want to do is create a platform where brands can own characters, like McDonald's or T-Mobile, where we can create a character with their branded colors or their messaging, and then link it back to them. But it's got to be more of a sophisticated kind of investment product at that stage. So it's not available to retail investors. It's not available to people who are not accredited right now.
What made you want to create a board game in a sea of non-board games?
Yeah, there's a few different things. That's a great question. The first, I invented a game with my nephew. He's 10 now. But we invented it when he was 9. We played on park table, and I held his attention for 2 hours. And I thought, if I can do this, maybe there's something there on a bigger level. The nice thing about developing a board game is that we test in person, so we get dynamic feedback from users on the play experience. We can iterate really quickly based on how people react and what bugs we notice during that interaction. And I think we were talking a little bit earlier, I really like the concept of having physical sales. Even though it's harder, you have logistics, you have manufacturing, but having a physical sale with a customer feels like a good thing because you have a concrete product that they pay for, and they get to enjoy the experience, you get the transfer of the money. So it's like a ethical business deal, I guess. Whereas, with some other products or consulting, it's not always clear what the customer gets in return, right? And so the nice thing about what we're building is that we also have a digital component, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can use the digital product to launch fully digital products without the board game. And if that is where the traction goes, then that's what we're going to invest into.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to the next presentation. So the next one. Yeah, you next.
Keep it in the box.
Everything.
So I'm gonna try to do this little Princess wave. I guess this is the move. That's how it goes. So this is koala, and we have an opinion about this. So after 2 decades of changing and revolutionizing the way that we speak to audiences, it's time to think about the way that we listen to audiences. So we created this company to make listening safer and more human. So, and we're going to start with work because it's unique and everybody really doesn't like their jobs right now. If you're on a call with 5 people, only 1 person wants to be there. Just 1. In our current tools, go ahead. Change the slide, there we go. And our current tools just aren't really telling us what we need to know here. Every board deck has a slide that's telling you that your employees are generally content. Even in the midst of massive layoffs, ask people about last year. The truth is closer to this. Some of your employees are thriving, and some are ready to leave. Take a guess which one has a bigger category. Go ahead. So how do we do this? We use AI to be more human. So you can ask your employees simple, open-ended questions and listen. So it's a conversation. And it creates a feedback loop that you can collect information about and take action. Go ahead. But today, you came in and saw a spike in pay inequity concerns. What happened? How is this complaint different today than it was a year ago or 6 months? And Koala also works in reverse. We're going to find out why your employees love their jobs. So you can track that over time. We think that's kind of neat. Switch another one. And go ahead. Next slide. There we go. And hey, remember essential workers? Nurses, manufacturing, retail, people like that? These people don't have the time, or more importantly, the space to fill out your survey. But with Koala, we can get their feedback. We can find out what's going on. So this is where we're going to start. Go ahead. And we're going to use a simple yearly SaaS subscription model. Our unique data that we're creating based on voice should have lower than average churn. And we're creating a data collection process that is a conversation loop that happens ongoing. We're calling it say more analysis, and we're actually in the process of getting some experts together to sort of define what say more analysis is. So whether that's employee engagement or things like that, the name, it may change, but that's where it's starting today. It's pretty exciting, and from the little bits that we've been able to talk with HR experts and management consultants, we feel like we're on the right path. So go ahead. Now, employee engagement by itself is a $3 billion TAM, so already pretty big. But it's not the whole story here. The lessons we learn in this space become a catalyst for a choice. On one hand, we become more of a consultant, more of a pollster, sort of really lean into say more analysis and our new data, and become a consulting business.
Hey Jeff, you got 15 seconds left.
Okay. On the other hand, we become more of a voice of customer and give influencers the opportunity to track their audience out there. So go ahead and check. Next slide. Regardless, we have the team. We can build the product, generate the leads, and close the sales. Our weakness here is obvious, and early investment, we're going to be focused on diversity for our first leadership hires. Go ahead. So where are we today? We're pre-revenue. We have provisional patents. We've done over 100 customer interviews. We're working on our prototype today, and we're going to be building up test customers in September of this year, with our plans for our first paid customers by the end of this year. Last slide. Now, we are prepared to bootstrap our way all the way to our first customers, and maybe even all the way through the first year. But for the right investor, we can do a whole lot more. And to do more requires an investment. So we're raising $4 million in that case with a preferred term of a SAFE. If that's not your thing, we're very much focused on getting test customers and people that are passionate about our problem or our solution. So if you're sitting here listening to this and thinking of all the ways that you can listen or possibly get your people to say more, come and talk to us. We're ready to listen.
All right, no question for the judges.
I was curious.
Use your microphone.
Oh. So I was curious to know, Jeff, some employees have different type of communication styles, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does this platform account for that? Because I'll use myself as an example. Like, I am very, very blunt compared to other people at Maritime Blue. So
Sure.
what I might say could be taken as very, very mean, but it's just me being blunt versus other people in the organization that they're not as blunt as I am. So with your technology and like the voice or the listening capability, how does that account for different people's communication styles?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so we're talking about an aggregated communication, so the conversation between me and you, that's going to be a conversation between me and you. We want to maintain that. That's a human experience. But if you sat down and had a one-on-one conversation with a larger organization, our target is typically somebody who has more than 500 employees, who can't sit down and talk to everybody. So we're going to aggregate that voice together and sort of cluster out the attitudes that are in that, and then track that over time. So it's not really the tone of what you're saying, it's how that aggregates with all the other people working with you.
Hey, I have a question. Where would the 4 million go? In a line item sense, like specifically,
Sure.
where was the 4 million go?
You were talking about an execution team for that, so it's the expansion into one of those paths, and you were essentially talking about like a listening social media path, where Oprah's famous, but why is she famous now compared to why she was famous a year ago? How is that trending?
What does that mean?
Well, we would build that product, and we would need that team to build that product. So there's a lot of component parts to that 4 million. Essentially, it's a whole different stack that would come into the company that needs to complement all of our co-founders' capabilities.
How will you encourage employees who distrust the company or assume that they say something negative, it may come back at them? How will you encourage them to speak up?
Sure. We think that we're going to enter a whole new space for that, so I'm really excited about it. We're using this kind of deli counter anonymity, and so you can think of every way that you could get to a web app or anything that would transmit some audio piece, whether it's like an easy button, or the practical application is a QR code that's sitting in the break room. So anyone would use their device, get the sort of your number 64, and then just what happened today? What did you learn today? What went well? What went poorly? And then collect that data and you can open that mic up and share whenever you like, so that information gets aggregated. You can think about the quarterly employment surveys that people do. If your employees are diligent about it, they're saving the open text block because you don't typically reference back to last year's survey to see what's going on. So this at a minimum is going to add that kind of trust. And a lot of that trust I think is lost because people write this novel about what's wrong with the company and nobody does anything about it. Yeah. Cool.
The next person pitch is Leanne.
Hey, yeah.
Leanne actually has no slides.
The most dainty microphone I've ever experienced. It's like talking into a Sharpie. No slides. Pitch decks are to entrepreneurs what colonoscopies are to, well, anyone, right? I mean, both are recommended and leave us feeling vulnerable and exposed in a room full of strangers. So here we are. Speaking of exposed, I've been doing comedy for over 20 years. And a lot of people don't realize that majority of comedians out there don't get paid. And many of them, when they do get paid, actually get paid a minimal flat fee, or it comes in the form of a free burger and beers, some tips, or exposure. I mean, my goodness, I've been exposed so many times that I may as well have an OnlyFans account, right? But that's a different story. The other way that comedians can get stage time is if they bring in 5 paying people who bought 5 tickets and then stage for 5 minutes. And then those 5 friends have to also be succumb to a minimum of drinks. They have to pay for parking. Some of them may have to invest in an angsty teenager for a night of babysitting. And that's a lot to ask on both sides. I mean, especially for an angsty teenager. So what we're doing is we're taking the traditional comedy club business model and tossing it out the window. And we're offering a live and interactive online comedy club, but in the form of a 2-sided marketplace with a SaaS component. So let's look at it this way. What do you get if you took Zoom, Yelp, Etsy, and a bunch of comedians and mixed them all up? What would you get? Something plausible. We're plausible, and I'm the founder and CEO of CavnessHR. That's right, and we're offering a live online comedy club. And on one side of our marketplace, we have comedians who now gain control over their earning opportunities because we're providing them with the scheduling tools, the virtual stage, the ticketing services, and the ability to grow a worldwide fan base. So comedians on Plausible are independent creators who write, perform, and produce their own shows. On the other side of our marketplace, we have comedy fans who can come in and they can now find comedy in a global talent pool in our comedian directory and log in and watch and be entertained with live comedy online from the comfort of their home, office, or wherever they are, right? And thanks to our unique screen layout and our audio design, our fans don't feel like they're on some sort of conference call with Scott from accounting. No offense to Scott, no offense to accountants, all necessary, right? But speaking of work, let's say you were there late and you missed one of our live shows. No problem, you can catch a replay in the past show's library. So Plausible has already participated in an incubator, 2 accelerators. We received our pre-seed round, which got us to phase 1 of development. We launched in December, have 30% average monthly growth rate ever since. We are generating revenue thanks to corporate clients, which is a pleasant surprise and welcome income, not in the form of burgers or beers. And we are also deploying phase 2. So just like your college kid calling home from college, we're fundraising. But we already have 6% subscribed, and just like your single friend looking for someone with a great sense of humor, so are we, comedians and fans. Plausible, give and get laughs, live stand-up comedy from anywhere.
Leanne, I'm curious to know what made you want to take the traditional comedy club experience because I've noticed like sometimes, you know, people would want the in-person experience. So are you specifically trying to cater to, let's say, like people with disabilities or other ADA tendencies that, you know, it might be a little bit harder for them to leave their home to be able to get to like a comedy show or something like that?
Yeah, great question. So that's actually, I see that in 2 parts. So the first part of your question is, I don't believe we can replace the magic of an in-person event. There's something to it, and I just don't see how that could possibly be replaced. However, I can create a magical experience online and with what we've built because it's designed for online entertainment with a live audience that can all see and hear each other. To your point about being ADA and accessible to maybe people who might not otherwise go to in-person, absolutely. And I'm actually finding that with our users that are already on the platform. They're like, I can't go out for this reason or that reason. Many clubs, and I read about this in private Facebook groups all the time, where comedians are talking about their experiences. There's very few clubs that are actually ADA accessible. So yes, I am finding that already. Thank you.
I'm biased because I like you, and my older brother is a comedian.
I love it already.
But because I'm familiar with the comedian crowd, most are broke. Yes, they are. What is the average income that you're shooting for the comedians that sign up on the platform?
What I expect it to generate?
Sure, yeah.
So that can vary based on experience and where they are in their journey. So there are going to be people, I think this is going to be on a spectrum, right? Because there are some people who are new, not well known, or may not have the skills, but they can come in and they can, let's say, for instance, just kind of give you numbers. Even if somebody who comes in, let's say someone who's more experienced has a following on social media and can invite their fans over. Let's say they're doing clubs already and they kind of have a following. They can come in, let's say they sell 100 tickets on Plausible, right? At $5 a ticket, that's $500 that they can make in an hour for an hour show. If they book another comedian, then they can pay that comedian out or however their verbal agreements or their agreements are with that person. Of course, we take a percentage of that. But if that same person goes into a club, they're gonna get typically a flat fee. And if they're only doing guest spots, they may not get anything at all. So, and typically, so if they're a headliner or something, they may be capped out on room size also, so they may cap out at 99 seats. and on Plausible, we're on the internet, so.
Do you think you guys, sorry for a second question, do you think you guys may transition to the point where you're selling tickets to physical shows?
So that's interesting. So we're not doing just tickets, so like someone couldn't post their in-person show and sell tickets to that. I mean, they could, but then the people online would be very upset and probably want some refunds from them for not showing up online. People are asking, and what we're experimenting with is what if I do a hybrid? What if I set up a camera and I have people online watching me somewhere in a club, so I have both an in-person audience and an online audience. But the interesting thing is the people online, on the online audience, love the fact that they feel more intimate and they feel they have a connection with the comedian as they're going through the set because they're in the room. So we're experimenting with that so that there's potential to have both. But the tickets in person would most likely go through the venue.
So actually a follow-up question. So I know that a comedian can sell tickets on their own. Do you also offer a subscription model so a person can have access to all comedians or a subset of comedians, or is it mostly the comedian themselves are responsible for bringing the crowd that will feed them?
Great, there's 3 points in there that are excellent, so thank you for bringing them up. So a subscription model, a lot of platforms are doing something like that, like a Patreon or a Luminary for podcasts and things like that. And what we're finding with comedians, although they're generating some money and some revenue on that, when we log into something like Netflix, we're subscribing to the whole thing rather than I'm not just going to look at this actor all of the time or this specific director. So it does make it challenging. And then that person, comedian, is a lot of comedians write a lot, but is it always good? So what are you getting for your subscription, right? And then do I just want a picture of what they ate for breakfast? Not necessarily. So that's kind of limiting in a sense and a lot of pressure on the content creator. As for the other part of that, which was
Is it the comedian who's responsible for bringing?
Yeah, so what makes us also different is because we're focused on a two-sided marketplace, I'm also promoting the comedians and their shows, like I'm giving them shout outs to help promote them, putting out in our email list. We have a good email list going for both comedians, fans, registered and unregistered, that draws people in. So as other comedians come onto the platform and they bring their fans and followers can't watch a show on Plausible unless you log in. And now that you're logged in, you're on our email list, and we can promote other comedians that you may like also, and you may now become a fan of somebody else and watch their shows. So we're kind of pulling together all the resources so that people don't have to struggle so hard to promote just on their own. And that's often the case within other clubs and things like that. So we're even helping the comedians out. One of the things we'll do is we're going to be making their profile pages public, kind of like a LinkedIn for comedians, so that they can share it. They have their ratings and reviews from Plausible shows on there, and people can access that. But again, to watch their past show library or watch their live shows, they need to log in so that we can capture them and then also help them seek out other comedians for life.
Thank you, Leanne. So next presenter is Stephen Buchanan.
So I gotta stay right in here. There we go. Hi. Hey, I'm Steve Buchanan. I'm the founder and CEO of TUI Rentals. We are an innovative solution to furniture rental, but we're actually growing into an innovative solution to the corporate housing market. So we all know what corporate housing is, and we all know the problems that you face in corporate housing. There's limited furnishings, and it's all used. And there's limited amounts of corporate housing. It's only those in each city, they may only have a few. And let's talk about the dream of corporate housing. You're promised that it would be this beautiful place, this high luxury apartment high up in the sky with wonderful brand new furniture that is designed exactly according to your needs. But it is not. Oh, go back. Oh, you stole my Okay. Okay, well this is what it actually is. And this is from a corporate apartment that someone moved out of and moved in with us. It's used stuff. It's junky stuff. And it's limited. Now look at the next one. The beds are used. Now I stayed in corporate housing once, and I got bed bugs. Now I was with the US Army, so they didn't really care. But we have a better solution. So what we do is we purchase brand new furniture, anything that the customer wants. So if they want a gym, fine, we'll rent them a gym. The customer uses it, their employer pays for the rental. After the rental, we liquidate the furniture at a quarter of the retail price. Most of the time, our customers purchase the furniture that their employer rented for them. So what does that mean for us? That means we have zero overhead. If someone says, can you rent in Syracuse, New York? Yes, we can. We rent all up and down the East Coast. We have customers in Florida, in Tampa. We have them in Virginia, in DC. Next slide. It is a gigantic market. The corporate housing market is huge. It's the global market. What we're focused on right now is government employees. Now, all we do right now is we rent furniture to government employees serving on TDY. That's the name, TDY rentals. And that market is still quite sizable, but this is where we're going. Next. Oh, this is our traction thus far. So since we really started operating, which was last November or so, we've had about $500,000 in revenue, and we expect by the end of the year, we'll have $1.5 million in revenue, because we have spent no advertising money yet. That's supposed to start next week.
Steve, you got 15
Next slide. This is where we're going. We're going to aggregate, we're going to be the single source solution for all corporate housing. So we can aggregate all of the unfurnished apartments, and we furnish it using our just-in-time furniture model. That means you have ultimate selection, and it's anywhere. Any unfurnished apartment becomes corporate housing. Next slide. This is our founding team. It's amazing. My Chief Business Development Officer is a former U.S. Congressman. Next slide. And we have been building up a staff. We have a bunch of interns, one of which is here today. And you'll notice we have an unfilled position of a marketing director. Next slide. So our ask. We're looking for a marketing director. We're also looking for an advisory board, and we're looking to raise $2 million in safe investments. That's it.
So Steve, for the advisory board positions, because we do have a good audience in the room,
Right.
what would you say TDY needs in order to really help on that advisory board, so that way you can really scale this business? Like, what skill sets do you feel like your advisory board right now is missing?
I would need someone with the level of expertise in corporate housing in the way that it's currently run, so that they have the contacts. Generally, it's contracts that are held with, like, Microsoft. Microsoft will say, oh, we're going to put 50 people over here. They own the contract. So someone that knows all of those people, that would be great.
Do you have a plan to mitigate, there must be huge moving costs, right, when using furniture ones, do you have a plan to?
There is no cost.
Really?
My cost of goods sold is between 20 and 30%. We buy brand new, the seller ships. So we have no overhead. And then we liquidate afterwards. So we liquidate, and because we're liquidating, so it's kind of a tax game, right? So an employer can't purchase furniture for you, because then the employer would own it. They can't give you money to purchase furniture, because that would be taxable income. So it's a business expense. So they can pay to rent for the furniture, pay to rent the furniture. Now, normal furniture pays itself off after 3 months. So who would rent furniture except for these people that have to? So, because we give our clients the ability to pick whatever furniture they want, they pick knowing that they're going to be able to buy it for a quarter of the retail price as soon as their rental period is over. So, for example, we have new mothers in the Department of State. They send their women back for 90 days. They get TDY. So do their dependents get TDY. So they get $45,000 to spend on lodging for 3 months. And nobody else rents baby furniture. So we rent all of that stuff for them. They buy it, and then the government ships it back to their place overseas.
That's smart. Thanks, Mark.
No, you answered.
So, this is dope. So,
would you say this is a furniture arbitrage play?
That is exactly right.
Okay. How profitable are you right now?
So our cost of goods sold, about 20 to 30%.
I asked you cost of goods sold.
Okay, so that would be, so it just depends on if you're talking about net profit or gross profit. So,
Yeah.
so net profit, you know, I have a revenue sharing agreement with my current employees, but I would say that about 50% is just profit. But I'm bootstrapping, right? So I just reinvest everything that we make into the company. The only reason to raise money, we're so profitable that I could just keep going at this pace. But I want to go faster before someone else figures out this arbitrage model.
Also, thank you for your service too. I should have
No worries.
that. What are you looking for in that advisory board specifically, outside of access to Amazon?
Yeah, so that's the big one, right? Someone that has those kind of contacts is the best thing. I'm gonna need, I mean, a lot of the money's gonna go to dev. So I have a CTO, but someone that has dev experience is great. I'm an attorney, so I don't need that. Yes, someone that's grown businesses like this before. You know, any sort of quick growth business. I mean, our market size is huge, so I want someone that knows, don't do this, do this. Don't take this sort of investment, take that sort of investment.
How big is the board right now?
I've got a buddy who gave me his Amex card. That's really it. So I don't mean to be quick, but that's honest. He's a high power attorney, and he funded my first furniture purchases. And he's not even an official board member. I mean, we haven't even papered it up. So
I want to make a play on that board.
okay,
I'm being serious.
I'm down.
I'm being dead serious.
Cool.
And I want to leverage everything that I have between both my investment banks now.
Sounds great.
And I can also probably help you get the next few board members as well.
I'm down. And I love Texas. Austin is awesome.
Awesome. I'm a Houston guy.
Oh, I've heard
I
of
just
it.
happened to go to school in Austin.
All right, okay.
I like it, but I'm being dead serious about that.
Yeah, and then also, you know, we've thought about accelerators like YCOM or Techstars. So an advisory board would be good to, if they have intros to that, or if we need it or not.
You'd be well taken care of.
Yeah, down. Thank you.
All right, let's just give a round of applause. So next up is David. David and Taylor.
That's it. Excellent. Hi, my name is David Robichaud. I'm the founder of Black Muse Virtual Education Resource Center. I myself, I'm a teacher. I teach dialectic behavioral therapy, life skills, and the career advancement for students and teens. I'm also a VR developer and game designer. I've been doing that for about 20 years. And this is Taylor.
Hello, everybody. I'm from Houston. Hello, represent Houston. I am a philosophy professor. I specialize in philosophy of education, and I've taught at a lot of different educational institutions, high schools, but then also Texas Southern University and the University of Connecticut.
So what do we do? So we create VR immersive courses that make education palatable for our students. From everything from math to programming, C# and things like that, to having fun. We create this and we put them in school. So right now we tailor our program for schools and after school program, and we're currently in a partnership with Metro Parks and Tacoma Public Schools, which come this fall, which will put us in 36 plus schools out here, yay. And so it's because the reason why people and these companies and different schools are picking up this course so fast is because we're providing a service to a gap that we recognize, that you may recognize as well, where technology is moving faster than our society, it's moving faster than our government, and it's moving faster than educational resources. So our goal is to bring future-ready skills to these students, bring it to their door, especially for low-income and at-risk youth. This is a financial tool that will allow them to profit for themselves, and we proved it with IEP kids, over 51 kids so far in the state.
So our mission is to empower underserved students to develop virtual products and services. We want to empower them to develop fully immersive 3D products and services and to be able to monetize the virtual products and services that they create. And why we want to do that? Well, it's simple. We want to be able to create better pathways for them and to allow them to empower themselves through these tools that we are servicing them to improve their economic prospects and their overall well-being. And we do this through the courses, but then also through mentorship opportunities and business competitions.
We not only talk the talk, but we walk the walk. We also build these training programs, VR training modules for companies. Right now, we are working on a contract with Steris, which is a sterile processing company. So we're building that up. All right.
Would the both of you mind kind of elaborating a little bit for me what the students' experience is through one of your courses? Like what, you know what I mean? Like what happens when they put the VR headset on and things like that?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that. That's a great question. We teach and the metaverse. So we have our standalone program where we put them in. We built this virtual reality immersive course for them. But we also have our metaverse platform, which we're using Meta's Horizon Worlds, where we're teaching these kids visual scripting, C# programming, how to interact respectively with AI, ethics on that as well, and all the way from STEM. And so when they put these headsets on, they're putting on the Quest 2 headsets specifically. It enters them into a world where there's safety there because there's protocols for cyberbullying and things like that. And so our teachers, our course teachers are in the classroom with them. But this is only to pivot. Right now we're working a hybrid learning course. We're pivoting to making all of our teachers non-local. So we're also working on a contract in California with a group of teachers that we have out there to get into some of their schools. And so out there is going to be our first non-local teachers. So with Harvard this year, by the end of this year, they will have their first AI instructor. So, and that's bad. So the way we pivot around it is by making all of our teachers non-local. We can put them everywhere, giving access to these teachers.
And then, can I add to that?
Yes.
I just want to add, so a lot of y'all have been talking about virtual products and services. So I know there's like games being created, there's like comedy shows that people are doing through Plausible, which is super cool. Like our students will be transforming like these 2D virtual products and services into 3D virtual products and services, and they will be learning how to monetize that. But then also we will be providing them advocacy services and advocacy training, so they will be learning about trademarks, legal rights, and all of that.
I have a follow-up question as well. So sometimes VR headsets can be a little bit pricey, and especially, you know, for underserved students, sometimes them spending, you know, about $400 or $500 isn't feasible for them to obtain a VR headset. So do you both kind of have a game plan around that to kind of help, you know, those underserved or like the at-risk youth to be able to easily access like a VR headset or other means to be able to access Black Muse?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that. So previously we were working with the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation. That allowed us to be able to give these headsets out for free. Cost on our side, but it's like teaching someone how to use a laptop and then taking it from them. So we wanted to get rid of that. Now, going into the public sector, it has prevented us from being able to give the headsets out, which we're still working on how to find that out. I'm in partnership with Meta's manufacturer, Insight, which they manufacture the headsets, and so you know that lowers the price for us by a lot. But we have a couple of our friends that are willing to invest in some of the headsets so we can continue to do that for our student. Similar to this, we have student business pitches. So once they finish our courses at the end of the school year, it's project based. So by the end of it, they should have a world built in a potential metaverse business model around it. So we put them through business pitches, and whoever wins business pitches gets to keep the course and other stuff. Gets to keep the headsets and other things around it. So our goal is to bring the whole family around what a dad or mom would say, hey, this is a video game. We're showing and proving that this is a financial tool, and Mark Zuckerberg and Apple plans for this to actually replace the laptop.
And I just want to add, so for the students that we will be working with in Tacoma, that because of the Metro Parks contract, we have the funds to be able to buy the headsets, and then we're basically going to be renting them out to the schools. And so the students will have access to it for free, whoever is a part of the Metro Parks program. And so they'll just be able to access the headsets for free, so it won't be cost.
Nobody's buying headsets. Nobody's buying headsets.
Nobody's buying headsets.
Except for us.
How are y'all gonna make money?
I
think I'm getting missed it.
No, I definitely understand that. So right now we're making 78 cents on the dollar, and that's for us taking the cost of the headsets. And so that's pretty good. Starting off, it was at like 22%, and we took a lot of that cost. And so we're leveraging other businesses and what this is doing for the community to lower that cost of the headsets. And plus, Mark is going to find out about us pretty soon, because we're just perfect for a public expo.
Yeah, so the more educational institutions partner with us, like YMCA, we're working with partnerships with YMCA in the area, and just different schools who want to take these courses, more money will be brought in.
We got the Houston thing in common too.
Yeah.
I almost went to SU for law school.
Really?
Almost.
But look, you made it, so you good.
Not yet.
Do you guys have any plans to start partnering with community nonprofits who help, at-risk kids? And so for right now, you mostly work through schools, and those schools would assign students that would access platforms.
Well, we are actually partnering with different nonprofits and different companies as well when it comes to building their course material. Super Ladle, which is a company that's under Startup 253. We partner with them to create their VR program, teaching kids about how to cook and things like that. So that's interesting. So we are taking on a lot of on-takers, and as well as working with different companies to create their VR worlds. We created a comedy world. Where's that comedy? We created
Possible in the back.
yeah, there you go. We created a VR comedy club that allows people from all over to come in there, and that's pretty cool. And it seems that right now, since the metaverse is so new, there's a lot of people just trying to figure out what works. And so, but the one thing that they're all missing out is education. Like there's a $28 billion marketplace surrounding these headsets, and no one's focusing on education. So we've hopped to the front of that line. Next month we're going to Virginia Tech University. They have a quantum computing conference, and they've allowed us to be able to speak there. And
For historically Black colleges and universities and minority institutions.
Yes. And so we're going to be speaking there, and we're going to advertise without shame.
Yes, and I would just add that, in addition to working with Irish students and underserved students, we're definitely committed to also working with people who've been formerly incarcerated. Both of us have taught in prisons, and so we definitely want to provide opportunities for them as well.
She teaches philosophy to prisoners, and they have a lot of time to think, obviously. So they come up with some really cool things.
David Taylor, round of applause. All right, our next presenter is Eddie.
Oh man, I'm blinded by this upside down. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Eddie Mazurregos. I'm a founder of FutureGen, a career discovery platform for Gen Z. We're a company that cares that you love what you do. Now, there's one question I want to ask all of you, and that's, what do you want to do in the future? Because it's something that pops up more than once. And for myself, it has happened every single time I face a transition period. I first wanted to become an emergency trauma surgeon. I was accepted to go into a medical apprenticeship program at Harvard University, only I didn't want to become a doctor. What I did from there, next then, once you UCD, I was to study plants and environmental sciences and work with some of the smartest plant science researchers in the world, trying to make crop-resistant crops, or drought-resistant crops. Then, I ended up pursuing management consulting, mergers and acquisitions, to then pursue what is now FutureGen. So, I don't know about you guys, but what do you want to do in the future has popped up a lot for me. Now, what is the core problem that is kind of the foundation to this? Well, what FutureGen is really focusing on is two things. One is, how do we get the future workforce to transition from young adults into getting excited what comes next? And the second half has to do with the employers, which is how do they learn to engage, to recruit, and also retain this talent. Let's listen here some symptoms on both sides. When you have the future workforce, you are having people that are very unaware of what the future possibilities are. Typically out of high school, you have high school students that are typically only aware of 5% of the total possibilities that are out there. You also have a young Gen Z audience that is paying attention, like their attention's gone like that. Meanwhile, you have the employer side, which is trying to prepare for a lot of transition in the workforce right now. And I'll be frank, they don't know how to properly engage with the future workforce. For example, the future workforce is not always on LinkedIn. For example, they're not always reading the job descriptions. For example, they look at the job requirements and say, wow, that's like me in 10 years from now. So what's the solution? Next slide, please. The solution is actually we need to show Gen Z and these young adults how their interests are applied in real-world scenarios. FutureGen is doing this by using social media videos.
Eddie got 15 seconds.
Social media videos and showing how their interests are applied in real-world scenarios. Next slide. Next slide. These next few slides just give you an idea of what it's about or how it's like. People get to engage. Next slide. People get to go ahead and like or dislike experiences that they're witnessing. Next slide. Able to align what interests that they have to career possibilities. Next slide. Explore potential career pathways. Next slide. And be able to repeat and get better and better results. Next slide, I'm going to quickly wrap it up. Our team here, I gotta say, I was the first dreamer, but over cross time, we have a CTO, 5 times experience. We have a chief revenue officer, a marketing officer that has 15 plus years of experience. Our chief science officer has 15 or 20 plus years in workforce development, as well as workforce psychology, all apply throughout the solution. Next slide. All I ask is follow us, test out our alpha, and get ready for the beta. Thank you.
Hey Eddie, I may have missed this, but what does FutureGen's revenue plan look like? Because I know it's you kind of helping expose Gen Zers to different career fields, which I think is great, but how does FutureGen intend to make some revenue?
The significant play for us in making a profitable business model actually has to do with the employers. Being able to build a talent pipeline to the future workforce, but then also, which is not very clear here, but we have every single intention of helping the employers retain their talent workforce. So essentially, instead of having an employee leave a company because they don't know how their interests and their feature aspects can further be pushed and provided by the company, we can actually show them like, hey, you can actually transition from welding or from a truck driver into a leadership position in warehousing inside the same company and save the company money.
So I'm not Gen Z, but how do you plan to attract Gen Zers who only know about this very limited potential job market out there? How do you plan to attract them to your platform and keep them engaged, to keep them looking at it? And I envision a less than motivated Gen Zer going to the platform. How will you keep them engaged? How will you keep them flipping through to learn about that other 95%?
We've learned that from our audience, it's typically when the question of what do you want to do in the future pops up. And that usually happens when a transition period is faced. So for example, as a high schooler, you may be getting ready to go and apply for college. You may be applying to or learning what you want to do after high school in general. Or you're already in college and you have an undeclared major and you need to make a decision. Or when you're a young working professional and you want to make a career pivot but unsure how to. So the stickiness actually occurs typically when the question, what do you want to do in the future, pops up. When you're ready to make that, when you have to make that decision.
Yeah, and that's a great answer. I was thinking like, okay, I want to go to college for business, but what do I want to focus in? And so I'm thinking like, or is it just, do I go to college? Do I not go to college?
Yeah, so through the platform, you probably see a whole bunch of videos that talk about communication, transportation, and business, and realize that, hey, I'm liking a lot of videos in transportation and business, and how do they cross-pollinate?
So, revenue-wise, how big do you think you can grow this?
So interesting enough, I've been working on an updated TAM because our team is getting ready to do a new concentrated focus. If you gave us one more week, we probably would have been able to address that. The market for being able to go ahead and again, I'm going to say we're pursuing for the vision, or we're pursuing for the dream, which is we want to become potentially a LinkedIn killer, potentially a new innovative way for, again, career discovery. We're able to save employers money. So think of it from not the small businesses, but from like, I'm talking like 100 or less employees, but we're talking about 500 and up. Depending on the size of CavnessHR, we've seen some grant opportunities that are saying, hey, if you're able to provide XYZ company an ability to retain talent or even recruit talent for $100,000 per year. So just to give an example, we're going to be testing this pricing. Right now, this summer, we're entirely focused on the stickiness of the Gen Z young adult audience. So we're getting ready to actually do the pricing in the near future. Thank you.
Well, let's give all the founders a round of applause for a great job this year. So this is just me, we're over in pitch competitions, with some people pitch. There's usually like one or two people like, what are they doing up there, right? They practicing nothing right. All these pitches were great, right? And Karina, that's why I did not want to be a judge. The other three have a tough decision to make. So real fast, I'm putting someone on the spot, they'll probably kill me. But my friend Karina's in the back. This is her first startup event, so do me a favor, go talk to Karina in the back in the white. This is her first startup networking event. So next, the judges are going to go back and deliberate, decide. They're going to decide the first place winner and the community place winner. Until they come back, there's network, there's plenty of food, plenty of pizza, meet somewhere different, and thank you for coming.
I like different things they go through.
Thank you, Jason. So after the deliberation between the judges, we are going to award the community package prize to Black News. I saw you just like looking around. You didn't come up here to get your prize. I saw you looking around and then like clapping for yourself. So, and then afterwards too, don't take off right away. But in an additional sweetener, the three of us have decided to mentor you all as well, so that you, yeah, because we want to see you be successful. So.
Thank you so much.
Yourself. Oh, did Taylor leave? Oh no! Where did you go, girl? Come here. You gotta come up and win this prize.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
Here's this.
Hey!
And here is the local Tacoma basket or bag as well.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. We look forward to working with you all.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
So the winner is.
Cool. All right, thanks. I knew as soon as you said furniture arbitrage.
Oh yeah.
You got it. All right. Cool. Awesome. Okay, thank you. I don't have business cards, but I'll write it written down.
I'm all with it.
Thanks. Yeah.
All right, everyone, thanks for coming. You know, we have the space, I think, 9 o'clock, you know, plenty of beer, plenty of whatever, you know, hang out, you know, do what you want to do. Anyone online, thanks for watching too. Thank you for coming, and remember to be great every day.
All right.